Well, you got your 5C kit yet? Well, you ought to. It's getting cold. Almost time to make a fire. That's one of the 5C's, combustion. I was walking through the woods. The temperature's dropping just below 32 now. And I got to thinking, you know, we should start a series on fire. The whole gamut, from the most basic portion of it all the way up to fire lays, etc. So today on Black Squirrel Bushcraft, a series on fire. First episode, Tinder. Stay tuned. So in the series of fire, the basis to every fire is usually Tinder, that first spark. What is the first spark or first lick of flame ignite? And generally it's Tinder, because then Tinder then ignites kindling, which then ignites the rest of the fire, and you can add larger and larger material. Now Tinder for me is broken up into two classes, natural and man-made. Well, what's an example of man-made? Man-made might be, say, cotton balls that you might infuse with Vaseline, or jute twine that you infuse sort of with paraffin or wax. But we're not going to talk about man-made tinders. We're going to talk about natural tinders today. And one of my favorite tinders is birch bark. Why birch bark? You'll see by the end of this video why. But you could use cattails, you could use grasses of different kinds, you could process up leaves and use those. But in most conditions, especially this time of the year where you might have some dampness or the ground is damp, birch bark is really, really versatile, and it lights super easy. So find yourself a birch tree. It can be a gray birch, white birch, paper birch, river birch, yellow birch, whatever the case may be. And the key is, if it's got some nice curls like this one does, I mean, it's pretty. You normally see these horizontal lines on a birch tree, whereas pine trees and maple trees, the bark lines usually run up and down. Just take a few curls off. Just grab them with your hand, take them off. It can be large ones or small ones. And this is a live birch, so we want to just take them here and there. We don't want to, certainly you don't want to take a piece of a curl and then cut it with your knife and take it all the way around the tree, because you'll girdle the tree and kill the tree. So just take it off naturally. Don't force it off. Don't use your knife. And just take pieces of it off. And basically it looks like that. Okay? See? Nice. And then we're going to stuff it right in the pocket. If you have a Tinder bag, which I lent the Tinder bag out and I haven't gotten it back yet, so I'm using one of my pockets in my cargo pants. So that kind of brings up another point that I want to make, is that if you're going for a walk, and you should do this as a general exercise and habit forming, take a walk through the woods or through the park, and as you're walking, see if you can find some tinder. And just pick it here and there and put a little piece in your pocket or in a baggie or whatever, and get in the habit of doing that. And the reason I say gather it as you go is because if you get to wherever you're going, either if you're going to camp or you're just going, or you run into a problem and all of a sudden you need tinder, you're not going to be there and look around, you know, at dusk with the sun going down, going, okay, where's a birch tree? Where's some grass? Where's some cattails? You know, where's some grapevine bark or what have you? It'll be in your pocket. And if it's a damp day, it'll have had a chance to dry off a little bit, being wrapped up maybe in a bandana or something similar. Okay, so we're going to head up to camp, and on the way, I'm going to try to find a dead birch to show you some advantages of that too. So stay tuned, we'll be right with you. All right, so here we've got an old birch log that's fallen. It's probably, I'm guessing, 3 or 4 years it's been down. And you can still use this birch bark. And the nice thing about using birch bark from a dead birch is you can take as much of it as you want, and you can take as big a hunk at one time that you want. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get a large sheet off of here, and the reason for that is the other thing that birch bark is good for is making a base in which you can put your fire on. And this time of the year, if the ground is damp, it's got a little snow on it, even though you've brushed away as much as you can, and you put this down as your base and you build your fire on top of it, and it makes a good vapor barrier. So let's see if we can get a piece of this off. I don't know how much of it I'll be able to, it's pretty tight. So some of it will come off okay, probably in pieces, that's okay. It's all on the trying, right? It'll come off in one piece probably. We've got some mushrooms here. Dealing with. Use your knife underneath the surface a little bit to try to separate it so it'll come off a little easier. And your fingers too, just run your hand down in there. Now, normally, I wouldn't take a sheet like that off a live tree, even abnormally, unless it was an absolute emergency situation. So, that's a nice size right there that you can put down on the ground to use as your base or your foundation, and then you build on top of this, and then it'll act as a nice vapor barrier. Obviously it's got a curl to it, and that's okay. You can put some stones on the side or along the edge or whatever to keep it down, and the weight of the fire too will eventually keep it down too. So I just wanted to show you that as a means to extracting it, birch from whatever resource you can get from. And you know what, you could actually take this, it's a little windy here, but I'm going to give it a shot. See, this stuff keeps blowing off on me. You can scrape this into a powder. If I time this just right, I might be able to be a hero here. Alright, there's your powder. Where the next puff of wind comes. See what I mean? I mean, it's pretty... That's why it's my favorite tinder. Okay? So let's go back to camp. We'll give you a real demonstration of all of the steps to do that. And we'll be right back with you. Okay, so we've gathered all our birch bark, and now we're going to process it so that it'll accept a spark to light our fire. Now certainly if you didn't want to use a spark and you had a match or a lighter that worked, you could just shred this up roughly, put it at the base of your fire, put your kindling on top of that. When I say kindling, I mean, pieces that are somewhat that size, etc. And just touch a match to it, and it'll go up pretty well, and you'll see just how well it burns. But for this exercise, we're going to assume you don't have a match, you don't have a lighter, or if you have a lighter, the only thing that works on it is the flint. And we're going to show you how to process this so that it'll accept a spark and burn. Now ideally you would be doing this close to your fire at hand so that you could transfer this to the rest of your tinder, whatever it may be. Grasses, more birch curls, I hope, etc. You take your knife, very easy, at about a 90-degree angle, you're going to scrape the bark until you get some shavings, some small powder. You can change the angle and the pressure of your knife so that you get a little dust, because the dust will accept the spark quicker, and the curls will maintain the flame to give you some time. Okay, it'll stay lit a little bit. This, obviously the powder portion of this is just going to accept and light off, and about as fast as it lights off, it's gonna be gone. So you do want some curls in here to allow you that time to transfer the flame to your fire. Nice thing about birch bark is too, when you're working on this surface, this is your moisture barrier. If you're on top of damp ground, you have a place to work where moisture isn't an issue, because you've got your palette, if you will, is separated from the moisture, so it gives you another bit of a head start here. Then you're just simply going to place your ferrocerium rod, in a little wind today, ferrocerium rod at the base of your curls, and away you go. Now look how fast that, now obviously I've got a little wind here, but it would burn a lot longer than that. Now, if that wasn't long enough, guess what? No trick here. It's not a parlor trick. Just do it again. Okay? Make a pile. You can begin right where you were. More dust at the base. And away you go. Okay? Now, that's why it's my favorite tinder, for a number of different reasons. First of all, I'm going to keep this and curl this up into smaller shreds and place this at the base of my fire. You know, maybe a softball size clump with some kindling on top, and even if that small kindling is a little bit damp, like I said, it will just vaporize that moisture and let the kindling catch. And for one last demonstration, and just show you a miniature version of what it would be underneath. As the wind has died down here. And I'm here to tell you that if that's not my favorite tinder, I don't know what is. So I hope you found this informative, somewhat educational. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed the video today. And please subscribe so you can see future videos in our fire series and other bushcraft items coming up in the future. So until next time, take care, stay warm, keep your tinder dry, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.